So now that our machine's all in half, we're going to start taking everything apart so that we can get that flywheel out. Clutch pressure plate's just 6 bolts. Comes out relatively easy. Since my primary goal is to replace that ring gear, as far as the throwout plate and the clutch are concerned, so long as they're serviceable, they're going to go back in. And everything worked good before I took it apart, so I'm going to clean it up and then I'm going to put it all back together, so I'm not replacing those pieces. It is a really tight squeeze in between that bell housing front end and that flywheel there with those worn out teeth. So you go to grab onto one of those, watch your fingers, it'll chew you up, and it is super heavy. So get ready for a good heavy lift. And there are starter gear teeth in the bottom of this housing front to back, so I had to pick all those out and get them out of there. Those are the offending teeth. A little too flat. Starter doesn't like to catch them, so that's the whole reason we're doing this. We can put on a whole new ring gear with fresh shiny teeth. My first plan of attack had been to try to grind that close to through as I could and then chisel it apart. And you'll see how that goes. And it turns out that was not going to be a successful plan, so went to plan B, which was just taking a punch and driving it off the way it came on. That took a little while.
One eternity later.
And there you have it. Out with the old, in with the new. I think these are more commonly referred to as pilot bearings. It's just the bearing in the center there. It's just guide bearing for the front of the yoke that comes out of the trans. And figured while I got it apart, why not replace it? And this is just a simple Scotch-Brite wheel. Just picked them up anywheres. It's didn't want to get too much into trying to resurface the thing. Now this ring here, before I'm starting to torch on it, I did put it in the oven and I got it up to about 600 degrees in the oven first before I went through all this. And then using a rosebud to get it hot enough so that it'll just start to crown over the face of that flywheel takes a good long while.
One eternity later.
Cut that torso. Going.
It should drop on. There's like a cutout for it.
Yeah.
It's not pretty solid. Almost. That was way more time consuming than I thought it was gonna be. Son of a
And this is pretty much it. You just start reversing your steps from here on out. You're gonna just start putting everything back in, new parts where you found the old ones, and go from there. And with this pressure plate here, I just wanted to clean it up real good, make sure there weren't any problems with it. At the end, I test the springs and make sure that they're even between them, and then just put it back in.
cool.
There, it is not that I have found seem to be a real easy way to do this. You just kind of have to grab it by that really tiny inner center lip and then guide it onto the two pins that hold it. If I bothered to get myself something fancy like a dead blow hammer, I could use something like that, but for some reason this axe handle is what I go to every time. If you're going to do this, get yourself a clutch pilot tool. It's that plastic piece in the center that's holding the clutch into the flywheel, keeps all the splines lined up. That thing is really important. Thank you, Butch, for lending me one. I appreciate it. Just before you start tightening everything down, check that pilot tool. Make sure everything's lined up and you can just pull that in and out. That's going to matter when you go to line everything up, because if it doesn't slide out, that yoke from the trans is going to slide in. So while you got it apart, that throw-out bearing that I had there had a little too much crunch in it when I was spinning it by hand. So you pull those springs off to the side and then it slides off. There's a little casting that's on the inside of the bearing. You drive that out, pop a new one on, and you're ready to put a tractor back together. And this is bringing us to the end. Hope this has been helpful for somebody, interesting to most, and hope you've enjoyed it half as much as I enjoyed making it. I'll wrap it up for now, and then next one will be putting that whole machine back together, turning 2 parts into 1. So thank you for checking it out. See you next time.
Kitty, kitty.